As I woke up early in the morning, I could feel the excitement bubbling inside me. Today was the day I had been waiting for, a trip to the woods. I quickly jumped out of bed and started getting ready. I put on my favorite hiking boots, packed some snacks and water in my backpack, and made sure to grab my camera to capture all the beautiful moments in the woods. As I stepped outside, the fresh morning air filled my lungs, and I could hear the birds chirping in the distance. The sun was just starting to rise, casting a warm glow over the trees. I couldn't wait to immerse myself in nature and explore the hidden treasures of the woods. I hopped into my car and drove towards the woods, the anticipation building with every mile. Finally, I arrived at the entrance, and as I stepped onto the trail, a sense of peace washed over me. The rustling of leaves, the gentle breeze, and the earthy scent of the forest enveloped me, making me feel at home. I walked deeper into the woods, following the winding path that led me to a clearing with a breathtaking view. The sun was now high in the sky, casting dappled light through the canopy of trees. I found a comfortable spot to sit and just took in the beauty around me. As I sat there, surrounded by nature's wonders, I felt a sense of gratitude and contentment wash over me. The woods had a way of calming my mind and rejuvenating my spirit. I knew that this trip to the woods was just what I needed to recharge and reconnect with the natural world. Soon, the night was falling, and I decided to go back home. However, as I looked around, I couldn't recognize which direction to head back to. I started to panic as I realized that I had no idea which direction to go in order to find my way back. The dense trees and lack of any recognizable landmarks made it impossible for me to determine which way I had come from. I tried retracing my steps, but everything looked the same, and I only seemed to be getting more turned around. The sinking feeling of being lost in the woods began to set in as I frantically searched for any sign of a familiar path or clearing. Time seemed to stretch on endlessly as I wandered aimlessly, my heart pounding in my chest with each passing moment. The fear of being lost in the wilderness started to consume me, and I knew that I needed to find my way back before it got dark. I kept walking aimlessly, and it was getting dark as well. That's why I saw an old, what seemed like an abandoned shack in the middle of nowhere, but it seemed like there was a light coming from the inside. I quickly hurried towards the shack and knocked. After a few knocks, I heard footsteps approaching the door. And then finally, the door opened. It was a guy who seemed like in his late 40s who opened the door. I explained to him that I am lost and needed directions to get out of the woods. Instead of guiding me back, he started giving me this creepy grin and offered me to come inside. As he said that, he opened the door, and when I looked past the man into the hallway, not only did I get this stinking stench, but I also saw what looked like dried blood on the floor. I quickly turned and ran away from the shack. As I was running, I heard the footsteps of the man running behind me for a long time. I kept running, and finally, I came out of the woods and saw a car driving towards me. I explained my situation and got a ride back to the parking lot. I had been 20 miles in the wrong direction at that point. I called the cops the next morning and reported the incident. But all I heard back the following week was that the shack was empty and clear of any stains or smell, and that the shack had been abandoned for many years. My local grocery store used to be Walmart, but after what happened, I never want to go to Walmart ever again. I used to always just scroll through TikTok and stay home. At the time, I realized I didn't have any milk, so I grabbed my purse and credit card and went to Walmart. My Walmart wasn't that far away, it was usually a 4-minute drive. I made it to Walmart, got a basket since I only needed milk, put the milk in my basket, and looked down the aisle. I saw a guy in his mid-30s looking at me in a way I didn't like. I turned around and went the opposite way. I was heading to the self-checkout when the man came out of an aisle and blocked my way. I politely asked him to move, but he wouldn't listen. He started asking me questions in a crackly voice, inquiring about where I was from and then asking for my number. I declined and told him I was just there for groceries. After some persistence, he finally left. I got my milk, went to my car, put the milk in my trunk, and to my horror, the man was standing right beside me. He asked why I was leaving so soon, and I lied, saying I was going to my uncle's house. I hoped he would leave me alone. I started my car, checked my mirrors, and he was gone. As I was leaving the Walmart parking lot, I noticed a car behind me, and it was the same man. I tried to lose him by taking different routes, but he followed me. I called my mom, who advised me to come to her house, where my dad would be waiting with his hunting rifle. I drove towards my mom's house, making sure he didn't get too close. At a red light, he pulled up beside me and honked. When the light turned green, he tried to brake check me. I maneuvered around him and sped to my mom's house. My dad confronted the man, and I stayed inside, recounting the events to my mom. We decided it was best for me to stay at their house for the night. That night, I struggled to sleep in the guest bedroom, feeling like I was being watched. A small rock hit the window, and when I looked outside, it was the same man from Walmart, gesturing for me to come out. I called for my parents, and my dad scared him off with his rifle. The next day, I filed a police report. I never want to go to Walmart or any Walmart after that terrifying experience. This all happened to me about a year ago. I was scrolling through TikTok since I had nothing to do. And then I saw a video of people exploring a forest. I was the type of person who liked to go to new places and explore. I went on Google Maps and searched for the closest forest to me, which was about a 12-minute drive away. I decided to bring a flashlight since it was 11 p.m. and foggy, with visibility limited to about 50 meters. I put the flashlight in my backpack and got into my car. When I arrived, I realized the forest was much bigger than I expected. I got out of my car, turned on my flashlight, and started making my way into the forest. After walking for about 5 minutes, I smelled something that seemed like something had died. I ignored the smell, thinking it was a dead animal, and kept walking. Suddenly, I heard a twig snap about 70 meters away from me. At first, I thought it might be an animal, but I doubted it could be a deer since there were no deer in the area where I lived. I started questioning whether I should go deeper into the forest. I continued into the forest, more cautious and alert, with only the sound of the wind, my breathing, and footsteps filling the silence. Then, I heard another twig snap, this time closer behind me. I shined my flashlight in that direction and saw a dark, tall, skinny figure about 30 meters away. I was freaked out at this point and just wanted to go home. The figure started coming towards me, partially running. I had two options, run to my car or hide in a bush. Since I wasn't a fast runner, I chose to hide in a bush. I threw my flashlight at the figure and ran as fast as I could, hearing the person chasing me. My phone had no signal, so I couldn't call for help. I reached a point where I had to make a crucial decision, go left or right in the forest. I went left and hid in a bush, relieved that the figure didn't follow me. Looking to my right, I saw a garbage bag with a bloody arm coming out of it. The smell matched what I had earlier encountered. I realized that the man in the forest was likely killing people, which explained why he was chasing me. I decided to run back to my car. Halfway there, I heard a chilling laugh, almost like a clown's laugh. I finally reached my car, only to find all four wheels slashed. I got out and ran down the road, waiting for another car to pass by. After about 10 minutes, a car stopped, and I explained my situation to the driver, who kindly gave me a ride home. The next day, I filed a police report detailing everything that had happened. Thinking back on that night still gives me chills. The man has not been caught to this day. However, the image of the arm coming out of the bag will haunt me forever. It was a horrifying experience that made me realize how dangerous it can be to explore unfamiliar places alone, especially at night. I still have nightmares about that dark figure chasing me through the forest, and the image of the bloody arm coming out of the garbage bag haunts me. I am grateful that I made it out of that situation alive, but it has left me with a sense of unease and fear that I can't shake. I now always make sure to let someone know where I'm going and to never venture into isolated areas alone. It was a lesson learned the hard way, but one that I will never forget. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Please subscribe and click the bell icon to get notification for all future narrations.